Welcome. This is Amanda with Crafting with Amanda. I'm so excited to be helping Rebecca Lockhart-Dykeman celebrate her 1,500 subscriber. And I know this happened a couple months ago, but that just seems phenomenal to me. I'm just over halfway to that point. So here I found this photo from when my husband surprised me with a trip to New York City. He even arranged for childcare of our 3-year-old, or our 2-year-old at that time, plane fare. He wouldn't tell me where we were going. I had to pack for all sorts of weather, but we ended up flying to New York City, and we got to do some tours and see the Rockettes. We also got to see 3 Broadway shows. So it was just a great long weekend that he arranged for us for our anniversary. So I pulled out these You Are Enough papers. I reused them recently in another layout, but the gal that we're taking our photo with is a Rockette, and her pants are that burgundy sangria color from this paper. And since there wasn't a lot of other colors in the photo, my shirt is kind of dark with some roses on it, and he's also in a dark blue. I just thought that this paper would work perfectly, and we could kind of combine all of those colors. And then I did pull out some of the gold or glitz Deanna Weekly sprays so that I can have that gold element, which also works with the rose gold that I don't know if you can see the shine on that honeycomb paper that's on the bottom. That's all a rose gold. So I pulled some Picture My Life cards and found the title in there, and then I had this little scrap of It's Silver, and that doesn't end up in the final layout. And these flowers that you see in peach I had cut for a previous project as well, along with those I think they're avocado color leaves, and later I end up swapping out those leaves and making new ones that work with the colors. So to follow Rebecca's sketch, I pulled this one, you'll see it in the upper left corner, and I had to kind of fuss for a little bit to find out where to place this square piece of paper to get it to line up with the corners so that I could just cut from corner to that tip. And it's covered by the photo, but it to me it matters. I would be able to see that the angles are off. So I did all that, and I'm now gonna frame this title because it just seemed with the white on white that it wasn't working for me. And even with the splatters on Rebecca's layout, they're very open pattern of splatters. There's not a lot of bulk color to them. She does have above her photo some yellow, and it looks like almost a packaging smush technique that she used, but because my background paper is so dark, I'm not going to be able to do that. So to make sure that this title sticks out or you can see it more, I'm framing it with another Picture My Life card. So I just had to trim it down a little bit, and I'm adding it here. And then I'm grabbing these flowers that again I did for my dad's life celebration layout, and if you haven't caught that, I will put a link up here in the right corner for you so you can go take a look at that. That was also for another hop. But I struggle with looking at her layout, and her photo is at an angle, so it really took me a while to figure out if this banner that she has underneath, which you might not be able to see because it's kind of small on the screen, if it's under the photo like it's all in line and straight up and down, or if the photo is tilted. And I like things that are sometimes a little tilted, but I finally realized it doesn't work with the triangles that are going on in the background and having the banners on the bottom. And it's about at this time when I finally realized that the banner needs to be straight, that these color leaves are not going to work for me. So I turned the camera off and I went off screen, and I cut 2 different sets of leaves just using scraps from my scrap bin of glacier and then juniper colors, so you can see the multiple colors. And then the one that's closest to my Versamat in the bottom left of the leaf pile, that's actually the back side from the new Sawyer papers. And I don't know if at some point you'll be able to see the front side of that, but that is the flowered pattern from the Sawyer paper that had the glacier in the background. So I'm turning my Versamat over because I've decided I'm going to also honor Rebecca's sketch in that they might be stickers, but they look like stamped images to me that are above her title. of some more flowers. So I got out some old flowers from retired sets. One was Postcard Perfect, and it's kind of a tropical flower. And I do first and second generation in sangria here with the bigger of those flowers. And then with the mulberry, I'm just doing first generation on this. And I did kind of ink it light the first time I tapped and then rolled it a little heavier to get more ink on it. That's just a quick way to kind of get a rock and roll technique with your stamping. So now that I have that done, I think it's going to work with my title. I'm going to cover my photo here, and I did some practice splattering because I wasn't sure on which colors I wanted to use. So I thought if I practiced the splatters, I'd be able to see if the colors worked. I grabbed the mint shimmer brush along with the scarlet shimmer brush, and then I thought maybe the fuchsia gloss spray by Dinah Wakely was going to be too bright, but when I did my sample, it actually turns out really good. It brings out more of the pink tones from the rest of the layout in those flowers. So I just used all of them. I use Night, the fuchsia, the gilt, and then the white at the end. So what I did is after I put on the 2 shimmer brushes and all of these splatters, I went ahead and kind of blotted them up with a paper towel, but I didn't want to do that for the white. I wanted the white to have more depth to it, but I didn't want to put the white on while the rest were still wet so that I didn't want it to blend. Does that make sense? I didn't want any marbling into my white or turning colors. So now that I have all of the splatters almost done here, and you'll notice that I'm kind of shaking it down because those gives bigger blotches from the shimmer blends than if you are tapping it. So I wanted a combination of all of those. And then you'll see that I'll go ahead and blot the inks, and some of the bigger blobs are wet, and I don't want to necessarily transfer it from one blob to the other, if that makes any sense. So I know I've seen people roll the rolls of paper towel, and maybe I need to get that. I just haven't gotten that far. But I just kept folding up the cloth so that it wouldn't transfer any of the wet ink back to my page. And here I'm just taking big drops of the white, and I'm going to let those dry. I'm going to go to dinner, feed my family, and then I'll come back and this will all be dry. Presto. Thanks to the beauty of video editing. So here I'm going to audition all of these flowers and the leaves, and I like to dry fit everything before I commit to laying it down. I can't see it. I'm such a visual person that I need to actually see the physical flower in its place, and is it going to be tucked underneath, or is it going to go partial underneath? Is it going to go under the big flower? So I just audition all of these. You'll see that I chose 3 of the blues. Again, triangles, especially with this layout. Rebecca has all of her flowers just surrounding her photo, and it's perfect, and she has her photos are on tags, and so that kind of gives you a visual break next to the photos so you can see everything. So to honor that tag look, I will put my journaling on these little tags that are tucked in under the title. And I did know that I was going to do that. I don't know if I showed you up front, but I did make sure to not glue that side so I could do that. So here I'm going to try all the different colors of leaves and all the different of the peach flowers that are cut. And the flower, it's all one cardstock. Close to My Heart has the true tone of the cardstock, but on the back side they have a lighter shade of it, or we would call it a second generation shade of it. And so that's all that these flowers are. I punched them out front and back side to give this look of the same color in the flower but different tones of it. And I don't show you on here, but I pinch all of my leaves to give them dimension. So if you haven't seen me shape any of the flowers, I will also put a link here for the flower shaping video series that I have. And I went back into my stash. I'm trying to use up what I have. I know it's all got to be moved again because we're moving across the country here in 3.5 months. But I'm just trying to use up what I have and not necessarily collect more until we make it to the other side of the world. But these gold pearl, beads, they're not beads, but they're kind of the rounded pearls, along with the pink pearls that were a color of the year several years ago. I think it was Bashful. Just, they can hold their own against the flowers that are shaped. And if you look at the leaves, you can see that they're kind of bent in the center and they have some dimension to them. And that's what I was talking about when I shaped my leaves. And I apologize that I didn't show you any of that on camera, but I do have a whole 3-video series that shows you how to shape leaves, how to shape flowers, how to get different looks out of the same shape of flowers. So that link was back at 9 minutes and 26 seconds. So here is the layout up close. You can take a look at the details here. Congratulations again to Rebecca. If you want to catch up with me, here's where you can find me, Crafting with Amanda, and I do have a Facebook group you can join. But be sure to go and check out all of them that are helping Rebecca celebrate her huge milestone for YouTube subscribers. The links are all in my description, and I hope you guys have a great day. Blessings.